Hi everyone, Mrs. Davis here, and I'm going to talk to you about our Spheres of the Earth graphic organizer to introduce all the different components of our Earth. So on Earth we have very unique features that allow us to have an atmosphere and liquid water on our planet and life, things that we don't know of on any other planets, making us very unique. So though we have all of these complicated systems and parts, we could quite simply break our spheres of the Earth into the living and the non-living. So anything that is living is considered to be biotic and is part of the biosphere. Everything else gets broken into different categories, and the non-living things, or the abiotic things, things that were never living, are either a part of the geosphere, the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, and then sometimes we even break out the cryosphere. So essentially there are 4 major spheres, although the cryosphere can sometimes be considered a 5th one. So for any rock, solid earth material, we have the geosphere. For gases, we have the atmosphere. And for liquid water, we have the hydrosphere. We can break out solid water or ice into the cryosphere. Today you are going to look at several videos as well as several websites to locate the information you need to fill out this graphic organizer. I have done an example for the cryosphere on how you should fill in the information for this graphic organizer. There are also links below that will be helpful for you, and several videos that are interesting and also help you better understand the different spheres. So let's talk about real quick what is required in the graphic organizer. So for the first box, instructions are up here. First box is a description of the sphere. So tell me what the sphere is. For example, with the cryosphere, all of the solid water stored on a planet. So it doesn't have to be a long explanation, but it gives you the gist of what that sphere is. Second box is going to be words that describe your sphere. And there is a Padlet in Schoology for you to brainstorm words that would describe each sphere with your classmates. And this is something that you might check back on later in the week to see if there are any words that classmates incorporated that you would like to add to your graphic organizer as well. And then finally, the last box is where you are going to write down any interactions between the spheres. So for example, an interaction would be the movement of material or energy between the spheres. Any sphere can interact with any other sphere. They're all part of the same system of the Earth. And their interactions can be complex or simple. Some of the interactions that the cryosphere has with other spheres, for example, glaciers, they exist in places where part of the year is warmer and part of the year is colder. So because they freeze and they thaw and they freeze and they thaw, each time they thaw, they move a little bit and then they refreeze. When they're moving, they're dragging rocks on the bottom of them with them, and that causes erosion. So this is a way that the cryosphere and the geosphere interact. It's also when that water becomes liquid in those warm times, that would also incorporate the hydrosphere. So there's lots of layers to the interactions between the spheres. Another example would be that carbon is stored in ice. So when we talk about our carbon cycle later in the week, there are many places where carbon is stored in the earth, and one of those places is in solid water or ice. And when this ice melts, that carbon storage is then released to the atmosphere. So by melting ice, we're not only increasing the ocean's depth, but we're also releasing carbon to the atmosphere and increasing the carbon composition in the atmosphere. So that's another example of how the cryosphere would affect the atmosphere. I would encourage you to try and find 2 interactions for each of the spheres. And you can find interactions either by watching the videos, or there's also some links here that are just specifically about interactions between the spheres. So these links would be giving you the general information about each sphere, And this last section, these 3 links would give you information about the interaction amongst the spheres. Okay, so let's look at what this looks like in Schoology. Okay, so you can see that you'll watch this instructional video, which is what I'm making right now. Then you're going to open the Google Docs graphic organizer. Then you're going to watch an introduction video to the geosphere and the biosphere, as well as an introduction to the atmosphere and hydrosphere. So when you're watching these 2 videos for step number 3, you'll really be able to grab some information for either the description of the sphere, the types of descriptive words that would be best for the sphere, and also maybe you'll find some interactions in those videos as well. So I would recommend taking notes while watching videos in step 3. Step 4, there is a Spheres of the Earth Padlet. So if you were to click on this link and go to the Padlet for your class, then you would find that we have each of the 5 spheres, and you would add words that go with that sphere. It could be as simple as, for geosphere, I write rocks. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that. And then someone else could add another word. Try to add at least 2 words to our Padlet for any 2 words total, but you can pick whatever category you would like. Okay, going back to the original, Spheres of the Earth document. After you've completed the Padlet and you've included at least 2 words, maybe there have already been submissions of words on the Padlet as well, and you can copy some of those words into your graphic organizer in that second box, or come back to that box later in the week, see what people have added, and add some more words to your box. Step 5, record some of those descriptive words. So like I just said, after doing the Padlet, you'll have some more words under your belt that you can add to box 2. And then number 6, this is an interesting video called How Wolves Change the Rivers. And it talks about how the reintroduction of wolf species in Yellowstone has caused the rivers to change. So you might not see right away, if someone were to tell you there's a direct connection between wolves and the river system and how rivers flow. That might seem kind of crazy, but after watching this video, you'll see many interactions between spheres that allow this to happen, and those could be examples that you use in that 3rd box on your graphic organizer. When everything is finished, you'll submit this graphic organizer in Google Docs. So just to reiterate again, there are the videos in number 3 that you'll watch, there's the Padlet in step 4 that you'll complete, at least 2 words, and then there's the How Wolves Change the Rivers video that you'll watch. So those are sources of information for your graphic organizer. You also have the helpful links, and you have your instructions box. So you're filling out 3 boxes for each sphere. Definition, descriptive words, connection between spheres, sphere interactions. If you have any questions, please reach out to one of your teachers. Good luck with your assignment. Take care.